Wonder of the Wasteland, Chapter 15, Part 2. When had the campfire of his greeted such a vision, except in his vague dreams? Tall, white-gowned, slender, and graceful, with the poise of a woman aloof and proud, and the sad face of a Madonna. What a woman to sit at Adam's campfire in Death Valley. The shadowed and thick light hid the ravages that had by day impaired her beauty. Adam placed a canvas pack for her to sit upon, and then he served her with something that was not wholly unconscious satisfaction. Of all men, he of the desert could tell the signs of hunger, and the impression had come to him that she was half starved. The way she ate brought home to Adam with a pang the memorable days when he was starving. This woman, sitting in the warmth, enhancing glow of the campfire, had an exquisitely spiritual face. She had seemed all spirit, but self-preservation was the first instinct and the first law of human nature, or any nature. "When have I eaten so heartily?" she exclaimed at last. "But oh, it all tasted so good. Sir, you are a capital cook." "Thank you," replied Adam, much gratified. "Do you always fare so well?" "No, I'm bound to confess I somewhat outdid myself tonight. You see, I seldom have such opportunity to serve a woman." She rested her elbows on her knees with her hands under her chin and looked at him with intense interest. In the night, her eyes seemed very full and large, supernaturally bright and tragic. They were the eyes of a woman who still preserved in her something of inherent faith in mankind, and Adam divined that she had scarcely looked at him before as an individual with a personality, and that some accent or word of his had struck her singularly. "It was that miner Dismukes," added Adam. "Yes, it was he who sent you here. You are a miner too?" "No, I care little for gold." "Ah, what are you then?" "Just a wanderer, Wansfeld the Wanderer, they call me." "They? Who are they?" "Why, I suppose they are the other wanderers, men who tramp over the desert, men who seek gold or forgetfulness or peace or solitude, men who are driven or who hide. These are few, but taken by the years they seem many." "Men of the desert have passed by here, but none like you," she replied with gravity, and her eyes pierced him. "Why did you come?" "Years ago my life was ruined," said Adam slowly. "I chose to fight the desert, and in all the years the thing that helped me most was not to pass by anyone in trouble. The desert sees strange visitors. Life is naked here, like those stark mountainsides. Dismukes is my friend. He saved me from death once. He's a man who knows this wasteland. He told me about your being here. He said no white woman could live in Death Valley. I wondered if I might at least advise you, turn you back, and so I came." His earnestness deeply affected her. "Sir, your kind words warm a cold and forlorn heart," she said, "but I cannot be turned back. It's too late." "No hour is ever too late, Miss Veery. I'll not distress you with advice or importunities. I know too well the need and the meaning of peace. But the fact of your being here, a woman of your evident quality, a woman of your sensitiveness and delicate health, why, it is a terrible thing. This is Death Valley. The month is April. Soon it will be May, then June. When midsummer comes, you cannot survive here. I know nothing of why you are here. I don't seek to know, but you can't stay. It would be a miracle for your husband to find gold here, if that is what he seeks. Surely he has discovered that." "Veery does not seek gold," the woman said. "Does he know that a white woman absolutely cannot live here in Death Valley. Even the Indians abandon it in summer. He knows. There are Shoshone Indians up on the mountains now. They pack supplies to us. They have warned him. Adam could ask no more, yet how impossible not to feel an absorbing interest in this woman's fate. As he sat with bowed head watching the glowing and paling of the red embers, he felt her gaze upon him. "Wansville, you must have a great heart, like your body," she said presently. "It is blessed to meet such a man. Your kindness, your interest, soften my harsh and bitter doubt of men. We are utter strangers, but there's something in this desert that bridges time, that bids me open my lips to you, a man who traveled this ghastly valley to serve me. My husband Veery knows that Death Valley is a hell on earth, and so do I. That is why he brought me. That is why I came." "My God," breathed Adam, staring incredulously at her. Dismukes had prepared him for tragedy. The desert had shown him many dark and terrible calamities, misfortunes, mysteries. He had imagined he could no longer be thrown off his balance by a maze, but that a sad-eyed, sweet-voiced woman whose every tone and gesture and look spoke of refinement and education, of a life infinitely removed from the wild ruggedness of the desert west, that she could intimate what seemed in one breath both murder and suicide. This staggered Adam's credulity. Yet, as he stared at her, realizing the tremendous passion of will, of spirit, of something more that had emanated from her, divining how, in her case, intellect and culture had been added to the eternal feminine of her nature, he knew she spoke the truth. Adam had met women on the desert, and all of them were riddles. Yet what a vast range between Margarita Arenas and Magdalene Veery. "Won't your husband leave and take you away from here?" asked Adam slowly. "No." "Well, I have a way of forcing men to see things. I suppose Useless. We have traveled 3,000 miles to get to Death Valley. Years ago, Elliot Veery read about this awful place. He was always interested. He learned that it was the most arid, ghastly, desolate, and terrible place of death in all the world. Then when he got me to Sacramento and to Placerville, he would talk with miners, prospectors, Indians, anyone who could tell him about Death Valley. Veery had a reason for finding a hell on earth. We crossed the mountains, range after range, and here we are, sir, the hell of which we read, even in its bottommost pit, cannot be worse than Death Valley. You will let me take you home at least out of the desert?" queried Adam with passionate sharpness. "Sir, I thank you." Again, she replied, her voice thrilling richly. "But no, you don't understand. You cannot, and it's impossible to explain." "Ah, yes, some things are. Suppose you let me move your camp higher up out of this thick dead air and heat, where there are trees and good water." "But it is not a beautiful and comfortable camp that we want," she said bitterly. End of chapter 15, part 2.